Hey everyone, thanks for checking out another episode of Wonderful Garbage. Happy Halloween! If you are watching this on video, I was inspired by Sonia Morgan. I also just look like a princess with glasses. But there's this scene of Sonia Morgan from the Real Housewives of New York, and she's laying in her bed with a tiara on, glasses, and a remote in her hand. And I wanted to emulate Sonia Morgan today, so that is why I'm wearing the tiara, but it is kid size and it's hurting my head so much already. It probably won't be on the entire show, but here we go. We'll see. Anyways, happy Halloween, everyone. Um, whatever. It's a holiday. I guess. Do you dress up, do silly shit, eat a lot of candy, make yummy drinks, stay home and turn your lights off outside so kids don't bother you, right? Do whatever you want. Take your kids trick-or-treating, I guess, right? Bless you. I hope it went okay. When I was a teacher, we would just always dread the day after Halloween. I taught pre-K, so the kids were just always exhausted. So we would have just extra center time, long playground time, long nap time, because nobody wanted to do anything that day. The kids were way too excited, still wired on candy, exhausted. So anyone who took kids trick-or-treating, bless you. I hope it wasn't absolutely horrible. Oh, fantasy football update. I won all three of my leagues this week, I think. Hell yeah. Doing pretty good still at a couple. Flowing along well. Absolute shit in the other one. But we do what we can. I don't know. Football season's fun. Fantasy football's fun. It's fun just to talk shit to people. But if you're tuning in and just really dying to know about my fantasy football update for this week, I got you. Also, if this is your first time listening, welcome. Thanks for checking out this podcast. I've been doing it for a couple months. I absolutely love it. I like to talk about pop culture and things that go on throughout the week. I'm also a big Bravo hoe, so I love to watch things on Bravo. My specialty, though, is Real Housewives. I love all of them. Um, and then like Vanderpump Rules, how could you not? Southern Charm. It's not my favorite, but I will watch it. They are pretty chaotic. Summer House, that's another good one. I love all those shows with men who have Peter Pan syndrome. Ooh, I have caught up on last season's Potomac. I actually went back and I watched the end of season 7. I like to watch reunions sometimes if I'm bored or I'm working from home when, I want to have something on in the background, obviously. If it's not Law and Order SVU, then it's going to be some sort of Bravo show. A lot of the times I like to just go through and watch reunions. I did that for Vanderpump over the summer. I just went and watched all the reunions from all the seasons because it's a good way to just get caught up and remember things that happened. All of this to say, I did the season 7 Potomac reunion. Watched season 8. I forgot I had watched some of it because they came to Austin and I remember they went to Chicken Shit Bingo and I used to live right by that place. That place is so much fun. So I remember that and then I went and watched the rest of season 8 and the reunions. I just finished them today. Now I feel like I'm caught up and ready to jump in on season 9. I plan on doing that this weekend and provide you guys with some Bravo TV recaps on Potomac because I don't want to leave them out. If you're still listening to this, thank you. Oh, but I have caught up on Potomac. I will watch the new season. I promise. Recaps will be out. Okay, let's just get into this week's pop culture recap. There's a lot of things going on. Yeah, let's get into it. This week marked the 1 year anniversary of Matthew Perry's death. Time is flying by. It's crazy. Matthew's mom, his stepdad, and his step siblings did an interview with the Today Show and People magazine talking about how the last year has been. If you remember, Matthew Perry was found passed out in a hot tub um, due to the effects of ketamine. His family hopes that Matthew's story will be a wake-up call to anyone who has been an enabler of supplying people with drugs. And they are hoping that with everything that has been found out about the way Matthew was getting his drugs and the text messages between the doctors who were giving it and all these things, they're hoping that anyone who provides any sort of drugs to people and they die, that, if you're involved in anything like this, you will be paying the full price for it. And they're thinking that since this story is so heightened and a lot of people are paying attention to it, that the people will probably get sentenced pretty rigorously, as they should, so they are just saying that, hoping that this is a wake-up call to people that are involved in any sort of things like this. They talk about just Matthew's struggles with sobriety over the years and drug addiction. They said, we were told so many times by different doctors when he was on a lot of drugs and possibly getting to the point of ODing, that they were saying, hey, we don't even think Matthew's going to make it through the night. He might not even make it through the week. Like, that's how close to death he had been. And this had happened multiple times. They also said that Matthew didn't think that ketamine was going to kill him, or he didn't think it was addictive. If I remember reading correctly, he had taken like a 3-4 month break, I believe, from taking ketamine. And then the next month he got into it, that was the month that he passed away. So it's so sad. They also mentioned that they were always on edge about losing him to a drug overdose because he had been so close to it multiple times, that just the pain of it actually happening and it becoming a reality, that versus something that they just always stressed about, has been really tough. His family says he wanted to be remembered for helping people and for people to understand that addiction isn't a moral failing, but it's a disease that affects so many people more than it ever has before. It's a real crisis in our society. Think we're all aware with like the opioid crisis, and there have been so many documentaries and limited series shows, movies about the opioid crisis and doctors overprescribing and things like that. And so I can't believe it's been a year. It's really, really sad. Okay, let's talk about something happy. I guess I could also be dressed as a princess because of the next thing I'm going to talk about. I have been wanting to talk about it for a couple weeks. It's been on my notes. I've just kept forgetting. We're getting a Princess Diaries 3. I remember watching the first one in the movie theater. I probably even had it on VHS. But earlier this month, it was announced that the third film is being planned, with filming to start next year. Anne Hathaway is the only actor right now from both films that are confirmed, but Chris Evans, Sandra Oh, and Mandy Moore are all in for it if they get the call. They are so down. Mandy has said that it might not make sense for her character to be in it because her character was a mean girl. She isn't sure how that would fit into the story. But if there's a way for them to write in her character, she's all for it. And I think they could. I think it could be like a change, right? She grew up, not a mean girl anymore. They're out of high school. Maybe she's like a CEO of a Fortune 500 company or something. I don't know. I think everyone wants to know if Julie Andrews is going to be in the film. I would think she has to. I would love even just a little cameo from her would be fantastic. In 2020, she said that though she's getting old and not sure of the timing of possibly having a third film, she would love to work with Anne, or Annie again as she calls her, and more recently said that it like had been just such a long time since the second one was released. Did it really make sense to do a third one? That sometimes it's best to just leave things alone, but she would love, of course, to have a third movie and be a part of it, because it was just such an iconic movie back in the day. I've loved Julie Andrews since Mary Poppins. I watched it almost every day as a kid. Our VHS, and if you don't know what a VHS is, I'm going to cry, but our VCR that you put the H tapes in. Our VCR ate my tape because I would watch it every single day, and I would watch it multiple times a day. And I think that's also why I love big purses, because Mary Poppins could just fit everything in her gigantic magical purse. But we'll see. Maybe we will get Julie Andrews a cameo in the third. What do we think the third movie is going to be about, though? Is Mia going to be a mom? Will she be a childless cat lady? Will she be a CEO? Will she have like a fall from grace moment, right? Like, what's going to happen? So, the director of the first two films passed away, but when he was alive, he did say that him and Anne Hathaway had been in touch about potential plot ideas. So the director of this one is going to be Adele Lim, who worked on Joyride and Crazy Rich Asians. She did an interview with People magazine, and she said, "As a diehard fan of the original Princess Diaries, I'm beyond excited to be a part of bringing the third iteration of this beloved franchise to life. We look forward to celebrating its core tenets of female power, joy, and mentorship with audiences worldwide." Yee! So I'm guessing if they film it beginning of next year, maybe we'll get it next Christmas or something. That'd be so much fun. Oh, we have baby news. We have baby news. Gisele Bundchen is pregnant and expecting her third baby, her first baby, with her boyfriend Joaquin Valiente. According to Us Weekly, they have been dating since last summer after her split and divorce from Tom Brady. They met on a photo shoot a while back, and later he became her jiu-jitsu instructor. And then their friendship blossomed into a relationship, and now they're having a baby. She says she loves being with somebody else who's from Brazil. It's a connection she hasn't had before, and so that's been a lot of fun. She also loves that they started as friends first, saying that it's a very honest and transparent relationship. So, congratulations to them. We have more Bebe news. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Whitney Levitt has given birth to her third baby, Billie Jean. In an article from People magazine, she says, "We are most excited about having our family complete. We've always wanted 3 kids, and we're so happy that everyone is here now." She said that they wanted a gender neutral name because they didn't find out the baby's gender until she gave birth to him. And it's the first time that they've ever done that. They found out the genders prior with their first 2 children, but for the third, they wanted to have the ultimate surprise. And so choosing a name that could work for either or was one of their goals. They have a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son, and the son looks exactly like his dad. It's wild. Whitney has also confirmed that she's back for season 2 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which was an absolute hit on Hulu. We'll see how that goes because she's basically on the outs with everybody, but congrats to Whitney. Ooh, we have a Menendez Brothers update. There's been an update in their sentencing. So earlier this week, the LA District Attorney George Gascon filed a motion recommending a judge reevaluate and possibly resentence the brothers due to new evidence of their father's abuse. And now that or that there's more of an understanding of the psychological effects of sexual and physical abuse, the judge or the district attorney feels like their case should be looked at another time. They were originally sentenced to life in prison without parole, but now if their sentencing gets overturned to life with the possibility of parole, which means serving up to 50 years in prison, they could be eligible for youthful parole under the California law because they committed the crimes under the age of 26. Depending on when this is all done, they could possibly be released before Thanksgiving. If not, then maybe for the Christmas holiday season. And I can't even imagine what that would be like for them, coming into a world that has changed so much in 30 years. Like having a cell phone and FaceTime and iPads and self-driving cars, which I still don't trust. But just so much has changed, and I hope that if they do end up coming out, that everyone just leaves them the fuck alone and lets them ease their way back into society because it's going to be a lot. I hope that they do get out. I think that would be good. Just a new chance and start at life. Okay, we have sad love news. Zoe Kravitz and Channing Tatum have called off their engagement. They were together for 3 years and they most recently worked together on a film called Blink Twice that Zoe directed, which if you haven't seen that movie, you need to watch it. Please read the disclaimer at the beginning of the movie though. It is very intense. Um, there is like a lot of scenes with sexual assault, and so just know that going into the movie because it is pretty intense, but the story is great. In a People magazine article, it was reported that Zoe and Channing were seen together earlier this month, but over the past couple of weeks, Zoe has been out and about by herself without her engagement ring. So from their interviews with Blink Twice, it seemed like they were really into each other. They said that they both loved working on the movie with each other because they had like a safe space together. And Channing trusted Zoe with what she was doing, and vice versa. And being in love with someone that you're making a movie with just makes it so much more special. And a lot of people from the jump have been saying that there's such a mismatch, that they don't look good together. But who cares? Opposites attract all the time. I've seen cutie girls with straight up uggos and nobody says anything. What about like old ass billionaires who are ugly with the young 20 something? No one's out there like, oh, there's such a mismatch. They're like, oh, she's such an old soul. Whatever. Also, it just sucks because like Channing could have had Lenny Kravitz as a father-in-law, and that's, I feel like, the ultimate father-in-law. That would have been badass. But, love sucks sometimes. Ooh, so, Martha Stewart has a new documentary out on Netflix. I watched another one of hers. It was a limited series. I think it was like 3 episodes on either Hulu or Prime. That one was really good. It talked about her career starting out in the stock market, how she became a stockbroker, became like was really successful and then quit because she had such a passion for like food and homemaking and started her own catering company and then published books and things like that and then grew and grew and grew. So she has a new documentary on Netflix called Martha, and she is not a fan of it 100%. I love this about her. She's like, yes, this whole thing is about me, but I'm gonna keep it real. In an interview with the New York Times, she says she looks like she's a lonely old lady during some of the last scenes of the documentary because she's walking around in her garden, but she's walking really slow and kind of with a limp because she had torn her Achilles and had just had surgery. And she wanted the director to delete those clips, and he didn't. She also says she doesn't really like the music in the film. She calls it lousy, which I love. Martha gives no fucks. She said she also didn't like the unflattering camera angles that were used and the fact that there wasn't any mention of her grandchildren because they're such a big part of her life. Her daughter didn't want them in the documentary physically, but Martha could at least talk about them, and they didn't have any of that in the documentary whatsoever. She says the doc spends too much time on her trial and her prison sentence, saying that it was 2 years out of her 83 years of life. So, like, why would you spend so much time on that versus everything else I've accomplished? She said her trial was boring, so boring, in fact, that the judge fell asleep while he was on the bench. Oh, which I love. But she does have some positives to say. She feels like the first half of the documentary talks about a lot of things that people don't know about her, like her relationship with her first husband, and that she's gotten comments from women saying that it gave them strength that they didn't know they had. So, again, there are some positives for Martha, but I love that she had some feedback that she wanted to let the world know about. I will definitely be watching this documentary this weekend, and I will share my thoughts next week. Speaking of documentaries, Meg the Stallion, our Texas girlie, is getting a documentary on Amazon Prime. It actually comes out today on Halloween. It's titled Megan in Her Words. It'll highlight the negativity that she received after being shot in the foot by Tory Lanez and the effect that all of that had on her mental health. She's going to open up about losing her mother in 2019. She actually had to, like, pull the plug on her mom. Her mom had, I think, a stroke or an aneurysm, and she was brain dead, so there was nothing that they could do. And they decided to not resuscitate her, to not like continue her on life support. So she talks about the struggle of that and her fame starting out as a freestyle rapper in Houston, going up to global stardom, being as big as she is, all the anxiety that comes with that. So, like I said, it's out today, Halloween, on Amazon Prime. Go watch it and support our Texas girlie. I will be watching that too. I'll be watching two Queen documentaries this weekend, Martha and our girl Meg. Okay, I'm going to finish out this pop culture recap with this week's Golden Bachelorette show. If you're new here, I've been watching the Golden Bachelorette religiously, like it's my job. I don't know, I love, and I like this style, like I said it before, because it's just an older group of people who I thought were more in it for the love, but after this episode, I'm not so sure about it, y'all. All right, we'll get into it. All right, so in this episode, it is titled Finale Part 1. We are almost to the end. So Joan and her three suitors, Guy, Chalk, and Pascal, are all in Tahiti. It opens with Joan talking about her struggles in this journey, and it really just seems like she might not end up with anybody because she still feels like she's doing her husband. She doesn't feel like she's honoring her husband. So I don't think she's gonna end up with anybody. They're gonna stay on a cruise ship, which I really hope nobody gets seasick, but it's a huge ass cruise ship and it's just them. Nancy, who was with her on the Golden Bachelor, surprises her there in Tahiti. They became friends on the show. Nancy's husband also passed away, so they bonded over that when they were both on the Golden Bachelor, and they've stayed in touch. So she's there to talk with Joan. They talk about her relationships with the guys, and Nancy asks if she has any red flags, and Joan's like, just my heart. I need to learn how to let someone in. It's like, yes, girl, you're down to your final three. You gotta figure it out. She's still saying that she has a sense of guilt. Is she being selfish? If I loved my husband so much, how can I try to find somebody else? And Nancy's like, follow your heart and just focus on the way that they make you feel. And then that's all we get from Nancy. And I'm like, I hope they didn't just fly her back to the United States. I hope Nancy got a free vacation out of this. So Joan's first date is with Guy. They have a catamaran date. And Joan says that she thinks Guy is more into her than she's into him, and she needs to spend more time with him. It's like, oh, okay. They talk about his hometown date, and it reminded her of her time with his family. And Guy's like, I didn't think I could ever feel this way again. And honestly, they would make a really hot couple. So they go snorkeling, and the water is so clear and beautiful. There are stingrays and all kinds of fish and baby sharks. And I hope they kissed a stingray because I did that when I went to the Grand Caymans. And you're supposed to get 7 years of good luck after kissing the stingray. I'm still waiting for the good luck. I hope it comes with this podcast, but we gotta be patient. They said 7 years. They didn't say it's gonna start right off the bat. They have an overnight date, so they're having dinner together first. They talk about how easy it seemed being together and how it was just like having fun together and they were able to relax. They eat, they're talking, they're cute, and Joan's like, look, tonight is supposed to be fantasy suites with, if you know, the Bachelor and Bachelorette. This is when, like, they can get intimate. They spend the night together. Cameras go down, and, well, they're supposed to go down. They go down morally, and it's for them to see if they have, like, a physical connection together. Joan doesn't want to do any of that because she doesn't want to have intimacy like that with three guys. That's not her style. She wants to have more emotional intimacy. And so Joan's like, Guy, if you're cool with that, like, let me know. And Guy's like, absolutely. They have a letter that says, if you want to spend additional time together tonight, here's a key to a bungalow. So they go off and they have some time off camera. And they both talk about just, like as you get older, intimacy changes. It's a lot of physical in the beginning, but then the emotional side really grows because you've committed to spend your rest of your life with this person. And with that becomes a lot of growth and emotional growth. So that was nice. I think they had a good date. Now it's time for Chalk and Joan's date. Chalk had a little one-on-one with Jesse Palmer, the host, earlier, and he says that he is in love with Joan. He doesn't think Guy and Pascal are right for her. He would be devastated if Joan doesn't have the same feelings for him. Again, Chalk is giving off controlling vibes. Their date is an ATV ride. Chalk says he has a couple of these at home, so he's like riding fast and taking really sharp turns, and I would just be like, oh, hell no. Slow it down, sir. We are not here to get beaten and bruised up. Joan's like, but I do feel safe with him. And I'm like, girl, no, he's crazy. And I'm sure the camera people just hated trying to follow them on this ATV, right? Because he was driving like a maniac. But Joan's like, yeah, I do feel safe. Like, I know Chuck knows what he's doing. I trust him. This is a lot of fun and spontaneous. It's like, oh, I think she's gonna pick Chuck. They have their dinner date. They, again, are talking about their experience. And Chuck is like, look, I haven't had any doubts about you this whole time. That the closeness we have and the way we've been working as a couple is really worth taking it to the next level. And Joan's looking at him and she's smiling and she's agreeing, but I feel like all of this pushiness is going to like deter Joan or scare her from being with him. I don't know. Am I the only one who feels this way? I feel like if he's like, we're such a great couple, I've had no doubts about you, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I've literally been dating 23 other guys. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know if that's gonna get in her head. Uh, he's saying that he's so confident in this, and Joan, we had a confessional, is like, dude, I don't know if I like have the same feelings. He tells her, I don't want to be cocky, but I felt a connection right away. And Joan's like, I felt a connection too, which I was surprised. He said he wanted to let her know that during their hometown together, he was falling in love with her. And she says that she loves feeling seen like that. But I don't know. I just feel like he's love bombing her a lot. Their overnight date is in a room on the cruise ship. It's not even in one of those really nice bungalows that her and Guy did. So I thought that was kind of weird. Okay, I gotta take off this tiara because it is killing my head. Oh my goodness. I felt like it was making my nose run because it was squeezing my brain and my nasal passages. It's literally a child's tiara for my big ass head. Um, Chalk's all like, ooh, cameras, go away, blah, blah, blah. It's time for me and Joan to have overnight time. And it's like, ooh, keep it in your pants, old man. Now it's the last date with Pascal, and Jesse talks with him first before he goes and meets Joan. We learned that Pascal was engaged previously, like as recent as last year. And he says that they would get like be together, then they would break up. They'd get back together and break up. And he said after like the third time of them doing this, he just broke up with her for good. And he talks about having a difficult childhood and how that's affected his relationships. That he felt really lonely in his childhood. And so he's always just had to look out for himself. And so it's hard to let other people in because he's so used to just being on his own. They have a Tahitian welcoming ceremony called the La Orana. They have like a traditional buffet of foods. But they're not sure if they're eating rooster or chicken. One of the natives, they like speak French, so Pascal's speaking French with them, and it's so cool. So Pascal's like trying to figure out what they're eating because Joan's like, I don't know what we're having. It seems like a really chill date. They have a traditional Tahitian bonding ceremony where they have to like be open and honest about what they're letting in, and it was like a pretty serious ceremony. Pascal is freaking out though. He's like, I wasn't expecting this. It was a lot for him. I'm not ready for it. They do like a little confessional. So he's not saying this to Joan yet, but he's doing a confessional just like, this was a lot, and I don't know if I'm actually ready for a relationship like this. So now it's dinner time. Pascal's telling Joan, like, they haven't even started eating yet. Pascal's like, I need to just talk to you about something. And Joan's like, okay, what's up? He says, look, I was engaged last year and I broke it off. And my daughter signed me up for this show because I was down in the dumps and she thought it would lift my spirits, essentially. He says he didn't expect to make it this far on the show. Yeah, us either, Pascal. And he's like, why are you into me? Which, like, okay, this is not going to end well. And Joan's like, I say that you remind me of my ex-husband, and you do. She's like, I know that's not healthy, and I haven't been choosing you solely for that reason. She says, but you just remind me of him in a way. You both have the same zest for life. You want to have fun. She said, and that's something I really loved about my husband. Pascal lets her know that he got really nervous during the ceremony and it scared him because he's having a difficult time of opening up his walls and letting go of things in the past, and he doesn't want to hurt Joan, and he doesn't think that he can get to a place where he's ready to be with her. It's like, oh, dang. And Joan's like, look, I don't want to get my heart broken. If you're not ready now, that's one thing. But if you're not ever going to be ready, like, that's a whole nother thing. And Pascal's like, I care about you as a friend, but I'm not in love. It's like, ugh. He says, we have a good time together, but I don't have a spark with you. It's like, are you serious? Oh, way to waste our time, sir. So they don't even have dinner. They get up and leave, and like Pascal's trying to get the cameras out of her face because they're trying to film Joan because she's just totally blindsided. It's like, did you just want this free trip to Tahiti, sir? Oh my goodness. Poor Joan, like that was just really rough. We get a confessional from her, and she says she just feels like she's unlovable now, or at least from him, because he did say this at the dinner, like, I've been in love before, and I know what it's like. I know how to love, but I can't do that with you. Like, I'm not feeling that for you. And it's making Joan feel like total shit. So I feel so bad for her. And that's where the episode ends, y'all. So next week is the Men Tell All. We get our beloved Charles and Gary back. I cannot wait to see them. Charles looks like he dyed his hair and he is looking young. Oh my goodness, this show, what a roller coaster of emotions. So even though it is the Golden series, they, I guess, still had like a messy man on it. They had to stick with the typical bachelorette theme, you know? Alrighty, that is all for my pop culture recap this week. Let's get into our Bravolebrity Breakdown. All right, let's start our Bravolebrity Breakdown with a show that's not going to be on Bravo. At the first ever Hayu Fan Fest in London, Hayu, don't know how to pronounce it, is a big streaming service. It's particularly big in the UK. They had a fan fest this week, and they announced that they are going to have a Real Housewives of London. It's going to start production early next year with a premiere date later in 2025, and it's going to exclusively be on Hayu. This is actually the 30th International Housewives series, so dang, we are worldwide up in this bitch, y'all. No info on who the housewives are, so more info to come once we have it, and then need to figure out how to watch it. There were a bunch of Bravolebrities that attended this fan fest, including our Bravo daddy, Andy Cohen. Along with Andy, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Lisa Barlow was there, Craig Conover and Austin Kroll from Southern Charm, Ashley Darby from the Real Housewives of Potomac, Sutton Strack from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Jessel Tank from Real Housewives of New York, and Captain Sandy from Below Deck were all in attendance. People were talking a mess about this fan fest, though, on Reddit, saying that some of the interviewers didn't know who the housewives were, pronounced Jessel's name wrong, that the audio was horrible. They said it was such a shit show. But we did get a little tea from some of our Bravo lebs. So in an article from Us Weekly, Andy was asked at this fan fest, like, what is the longest or most outrageous text you've gotten from a housewife? He says the longest text he's gotten from a housewife was Teresa Giudice, saying that she's more of a paragraph gal. He says, though, he's never gotten a voice note from a housewife, which I find surprising, but they do text him a lot. Ashley Darby gave an update on her divorce, saying that her and her estranged husband, Michael, have not filed yet. Girl, we've been going on this for like 2 years, and everyone's been giving her shit that she doesn't want to file because she doesn't want to cut Mr. Moneybags. She wants to still get that money. She says it's on the horizon, but that there has been a delay with the settlement agreement. Because Ashley didn't get anything, like the way her prenup was signed, even though she has 2 kids with this man, Ashley wasn't getting shit from him. So, sounds like this divorce is still in the works. She talks about her dating life, and she says she's not just dating one person, she is dating someone's. She is just like having fun, hanging out with people, loving her life. Sutton, Ashley, Lisa, and Gisele were on a panel, and they were asked who they thought had the most to answer at their respective cities' reunions. Lisa, who is on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, said Whitney. No surprise there. Insert shocked face. She says, I don't know how she's going to be able to face this wrath because she lies about everyone this season. It's like, oh, Lisa's coming for the jugular. Sutton's on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and she says probably her, Dorit, and Kyle are going to have the most to answer at the reunion. And I hope they hold Kyle to some shit because, yes, I know she's been on it since the inception, and she is one of Andy's favorites, but girl's just been coasting by for a minute. Every season, she like storms off in some capacity and says, I'm done. And we actually got that in the preview in the trailer. So another season of Kyle crying, playing the victim, being sad, but I hope Dorit just comes after her. Dorit's trying to secure that check now that her and PK are getting divorced. Gisele, who's on the New York series, she didn't name any names, but she says it's been a roller coaster of a season. She doesn't know how it's going to end. It doesn't look good. It's like, ugh. It's probably going to end with recasting. Or you guys being put on pause, one or the other. Ashley from Potomac says it'll probably be between Mia and Karen who will have the most to answer at their upcoming reunion. And she added that Karen might be wearing orange sometime soon. Referring like she's going off to what, camp? Is that what they call it? Going to jail. So Karen had a DUI charge back in March. She was found with her crashed car, 2 beers in it. The officer who got on site said that she was slurring her words, and obviously you could tell she was intoxicated. Karen had filed to get the charges dismissed because she says that she wasn't recited her Miranda warnings, like her rights. A judge actually just dismissed her motion. Do I sound like a lawyer? We watched Lincoln Lawyer this week, so if I sound like a lawyer, you know that's why. The judge said, nope, that when there's a roadside investigation like this, the Miranda warnings don't have to be provided to you. It's like, ooh. So we're gonna see what happens with Karen. I think she got like 6 or 7 charges on her, so it's not looking good. And from what I can tell in like the clips I've seen of this season's Potomac, so far Karen is not coming in humble to the season. She's kind of like, if you're not on my side, screw you. And like, that's not how you want to be, girl. Like, you did some bad shit. Come in humble. You know, everyone needs a humble season. Not even housewives. We, the people. I was about to sing that like Schoolhouse Rock song. um we the people all need a humble season and helps bring us back down to reality. Anyways, sounds like it's a mess. But yeah, at least we got a little tea from this fan fest that sounded like it was a shit show. Good job, Hayu. Hey you. Hayu? I don't know. I hope your Real Housewives of London show doesn't suck. Oh, okay. So there's a new docu-series out called The Dark Side of Reality TV, and I think they do a bunch of different installments. The OG of the OC, Vicki G. That was funny. Vicki Gunvalson was interviewed and talks about one of the worst scenes that she had ever filmed while being on The Real Housewives of Orange County, saying that she felt like she made a deal with the devil. So Page Six did an article on this, and she talks about just her experience on this show. The Real Housewives of Orange County, if you don't know, was the first Real Housewives franchise ever on Bravo. So they literally started all the chaos that we have and love now. She says they like didn't get paid anything for the first season. And then her second season, she got like 5 grand. She said she never had a lawyer look over the contracts. She totally should have, but at the time just didn't think to do so. But by the end of her final filming, she was making 7 figures. Mama was making coin, y'all. She talks about how the show 100% impacted her divorce with Dawn. It put a lot of pressure on their marriage. It brought a lot of things out to light. And in past interviews, she's also said like she does regret divorcing Dawn. So it just sucks that the show had that kind of impact. So in season 10 of the Orange County Housewives, Vicki was at a co-star's house playing bunco. And so Vicki's talking about this in the dark side of reality TV in her interview. She's at her friend's house playing bunco. We learned that her daughter is trying to call her. And her daughter is calling production saying, I need to talk to my mom now. I know she's filming, but I really need to talk to her. Vicki's mom passed away. And so her daughter was trying to let her know. And it turns out production knew for about an hour of her mom's passing. And then instead of telling her off camera or moving her into a separate private space, they set up a phone call for Vicki to take. And they're filming the entire thing. And Vicki falls on the floor and she is bawling her eyes out, like one of the rawest moments you can have as a human being, right? Whether it's your mother, your father, a guardian, your sister, your brother, your husband, anyone who has that type of importance in your life, right? And that shit's being filmed on TV. It's absolutely horrible, and production 100% should have handled that differently. You know, Vicki has come back and filmed. She filmed more seasons after that. She's been back as a friend of. I think two things can be true. It was fucked up a production to handle it that way, and Vicki continued to be on the show because it made her good money, you know? Um, but yeah, that was a really rough scene to watch. And just knowing the backstory of it just makes it hurt even more. So, I don't know, just do better, right? Like, I hope now production wouldn't do stuff like that. I hope now it would be a little different. We learn from our mistakes and we grow. If we're not growing, what are we doing? Okay, speaking of Real Housewives of Orange County, Tamra is back at it, and she's saying that we're mean people, y'all. The fans out there in these streets giving our opinions, talking shit. She says we're mean. She says that fans have been saying nasty, horrible things about her, including that she's a mean person, and she is done with it. She is over it, that there needs to be rules for social media. Yeah, But have you seen yourself on the show? Have you seen what you've been doing? We are reacting to your behavior. Don't start none, won't be none, right? Like the way you're acting is wild. Apparently, Bravo told her that only three, this makes me laugh. Bravo said that only about 3% of viewers are critical of her and that it's not something to worry about. It's like, where are you getting these numbers from? And I guarantee you it's higher than that. She also says that Instagram is a gross place. The comments are rude. People are always talking about people's weights and looks. And it's like, girl, don't you do that on the show? You made fun of your friend Jen that you brought on all last season for wearing fake designer clothing. And then this season, you're talking about her not having a belly button. Take a look in the mirror, ma'am. So actually anyways, that was just dumb. But okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts and feelings, Tamra, but you're bringing all of this upon yourself. I do hope you know that. Let's take some self-awareness classes in between filming seasons. If you're going to be back next season, I suggest you buy a bunch of mirrors and just stare at them. So the Real Housewives of Orange County reunion trailer was just released today, and it looks so good. Heather goes in on Katie, which, okay, we're done with that. Tamra gets in an I'm sorry with Shannon, but follows it with a but, and Shannon's like, this is what you do. You start apologizing, then you add in a but, and then you go off about something else, and Shannon's like, done with it. Heather seems to back Tamra against Shannon, which are we shocked? Heather's like, for someone to have such a high blood alcohol level, blood alcohol level? I don't know. For someone to like have blown so much that night and like the breathalyzer, that you must like, that must be somebody who drinks a lot. It's like, damn, Heather. They talk a little bit about the cease and desist. Again, we're just getting clips. This is like a minute plus trailer. Emily yells at Alexis, which I love. Alexis doubles down on her support for John. But Emily gives us a great line. She says, every trash can needs a lid, and John found his with Alexis. I love that. And I remember Andy saying that the Orange County trailer or the reunion was a lot, but that when Alexis was out there, it was just horrible. Like everybody was on edge. So I can't wait to watch it. It looks really good. We also got a Southern Charm trailer this week. So it opens with the cast, and there are 20 people now on Southern Charm. Why? Why are there so many people? Let's cut some dead weight. Leva. I like Leva as a person. I like her as a human. I like her as a businesswoman. She does nothing for this show. She has brought in another show called Southern Hospitality, also on Bravo. Let's keep her there. We don't really need her on Southern Charm anymore. It's counting down, like all the staff, all the castmates are counting down the trailer, like trailers in 10, 9, 8. So I'm like, why are we doing this? Are you letting us know that they can count backwards? Why are we counting? This is unnecessary. Just get to the drama. It looks like the Peter Pan men, Austin and Shep, are jealous of Craig's growth. And we get a little cameo from our girl Paige, and she was like, they are just bothered with you being a better person, and they think it's all because of me. And take some fucking credit for that. Again, if you're not growing, what are you doing? Craig is taking over the home goods industry. He wants to make sure he is good and set and ready. He can't be a sloppy drunk in his late 30s trying to grow a business. Good for you, Craig. We always love you. You and your conspiracy theories. For some reason, Miss Patricia is driving her Bentley and then hits a curb. It's like, and Shep's in the passenger seat, and I also wouldn't trust Shep driving my Bentley, so maybe my Bentley. One can hope. I wouldn't trust Shep either. So maybe Miss Patricia was like, fuck it. Between him and I, we might have a better choice with me driving it. It looks like they take a cast trip to the Bahamas. That's always fun. There's a couple new girls. One name's Molly. She used to sleep with Craig. How great. But she's like, I'm not trying to come for Paige. It's like, girl, you couldn't even. We get Sally, who was on Southern Hospitality a couple episodes last season. She says that she used to date Taylor's ex, and Taylor used to date Shep. Taylor is now with somebody else, and Sally used to date him. Sally has also slept with Shep, so cool. You don't really need to like brag. Like, don't brag about it though. Talk about it once and then be done. JT is trying to secure another season by being into Vanita, and I love Vanita. But girl, run. No. Let's not do this. What happened to Manny? Manny was cute and sweet. Looks like Rodrigo. Yeah, Rodrigo is full time. Yay for him. We love that. Get him. Shep has a lover now, a girlfriend. He says he loves her. Are they serious? What is happening? Some of the cast doesn't think she's into him. Leva isn't in any of the trailer other than the countdown in the beginning, and she didn't even get a number. And then she's in like a clip smiling. She doesn't even say words. So remind us again why she's on this show. And again, I love Leva. I support her as a businesswoman. They are taking over that whole fun street down on Charleston. But I don't think she needs to really be on the show anymore. Oh, we get a really great quote from Craig. He's like, Austin, they're like drunk in the Bahamas. It's what it looks like. And Austin's like, Craig, you are an embellisher. And Craig's like, no, I'm just a lawyer and a storyteller. And I love that. Craig makes me laugh so much. He's still silly while he's building that home goods empire. Ah, well, that is my Bravo breakdown for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to Wonderful Garbage. I love it so much, and I love that you all tune into this. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, do all the things wherever you are listening to this on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. I do these pop culture recaps and Bravolebrity breakdowns every Friday. Bravo TV recaps will be out later in the week. And please follow Wonderful Garbage on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Thank y'all again so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. If you're bored and you need to pass the time, please go listen to some of my older episodes or all of my older episodes. I think I have about 30 something out there right now with all of my Bravo TV recaps. So go do it. Go listen. I would really appreciate it. All right, y'all. Until next time.